Hey, hey, hey. Hey, financial besties. Hey, y'all. How you doing? How you been? Shout out to my channel members, the besties and the VIP besties. I see you. And I appreciate you for supporting the channel. And if you enjoy my content and you want to support the channel too, you tap that join button right below this video somewhere. I appreciate all of you for being subscribers, for being channel members, for being loyal in the live chat when I come on Friday nights. I appreciate you so much. Which, by the way, if you're joining me live, y'all know the routine. You know what I'm going to ask you to do. Drop some money, babies, in the chat. And when you drop the money, babies, also let me know in the chat if you have plans to move abroad or if you have plans to slow travel and stay in another country for an extended period of time. Let me know in the chat. And if so, where? Where are you planning to go? And if you're watching the replay, leave a comment to let me know the same thing. What country are you considering? All right? Because in this video, I want to talk about moving abroad or slow travel and staying in another country or countries for an extended period of time while you're away from your home country, and some things I have personally considered when searching for a new country to call home. So as we discuss each of these criteria, I want you to let me know if what I've considered is important to you too. Right? And I'll also share how some countries that I've been to since I've been slow traveling, how they measure up to these criteria that I have. And at the end of the video, I'll let you know where I am currently. I think some of you know already. Don't spill the beans in the chat, but I'll let you know where I am currently. And based on the criteria that we talk about in this video, I'll let you know if I think this country is a good option for other Black women to consider as an alternative to call home, especially while the performances are going on in our country. We're not gonna get into that in this video, but we all know what I'm referring to, right? Y'all know what I'm referring to, right? The circus performance, and what we know is going to be the inevitable fallout. Anyway, let me focus. Before we get started on talking about things to consider when you're scouting for a new country to call home, even if just temporarily. I'm going to introduce myself because there may be someone watching that doesn't know me. So if you are new to me, hey girl, hey, my name is Malika. I'm a money coach, and I'm also the founder of Fabulous Financials. I teach Black women how to navigate the stock market and invest with ease. And I emphasize investing with ease because the content that you consume about investing in the stock market, I'm sure it seems overwhelming and it seems like it's so much and so complicated. It's not. I am personally on a journey to help 100 Black women snatch their reparations from the stock market and become millionaires. I personally was on my personal journey from being on welfare for 10 years to achieving financial freedom and retiring early from my career in my 40s. So I know it can be done. In my Sister Circle Mastermind, I have helped other Black women do the same. I have recently had 2 newly minted millionaires in my community. So I know it's possible. Not just evidence from me and what I've done for my life, but evidence of what I've seen other Black women do. So I'm on a mission to help at least at least 100 of us become financially free So you can snatch your reparations from the market and move wherever you want to in the world. Or if moving is not your goal, live in whatever you love. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I suggest that you subscribe to my channel, join my tribe, sis, because investing in the stock market is not as complicated as the finance bros make it seem. When you subscribe, you'll see what I mean. And let me say hello to my besties. Let me say hello to my besties in the house. What's up, y'all? Hey, Shalonda, channel member. What's up, VIP Bestie Gang? I love it. I love your hashtag. Other channel members, let me know. Shout yourself out with the hashtag. Let me see. What other channel members in the house? I'm looking for your color highlighted. I love to see y'all. I love to see y'all. What's up, Tanya Brooks? You are always first in the chat. I love to see you. I love to see you. What's up, girl? Let's see. Hey, Chanel. Hey, Chanel. Oh, you're planning to go? Okay, I'm going to circle back to your comments where you're answering my question and telling me where you're planning to go. What's up, Elle? Hey, girl. Hey. Sharon Lauded. Hey, girl. Hey, I see you. Kusam. Hey, girl. Hey. Bajan 54. Hey, Yolanda R. Hello, hello. Maya Spikes. Hello, hello. Chanel said the big show. This is the big reveal. Live what you love. Whatever you love. Travel is what I love. So when you have financial freedom, you have options to do whatever you want to do. So if moving abroad is not your thing, I hope you still hang with us tonight, because I think over the next 4 years, you might reconsider. Lawana asks, hey girl, hey, your first time catching a live. I'm so glad you're here. I think I said hello. Oh no, Venus Kirby, what's up, girl? Ooh, I'm loving your money babies. Look, Venus the only one that gave me some money babies. Where y'all money babies at? Hey Venus, how you doing, sis? What's up, Jackie? I see the money babies in the house. Channel member. So good to see y'all. So good to see y'all. But let's see, where are y'all planning to go? What countries are y'all planning to consider? Chanel says Mexico or Costa Rica. Sharon says Lisbon, Mexico, or France. So you named one city, but 2 other countries. So where in the other 2 countries? Costa Rica again. Okay, Costa Rica. All right, Maya says Mexico, Panama, and Portugal. And she's open to others. Okay. So those 3 seem to be, Mexico seems to be popular. I've seen Costa Rica multiple times. Costa Rica again. Costa Rica and Mexico again. Home base will be Mexico and slow travel to Costa Rica, Thailand, Portugal, Paraguay, and Ecuador. I'm open to others. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's talk about some of the criteria we consider when we are choosing a place to call home. And when I say choosing a place to call home, it doesn't have to be a permanent move. It doesn't have to be forever. A place to call home is where you decide to pack up, leave your original home country, and stay for an extended period. That could be a month, that can be 6 months, it could be a year, or it can be several years. The beauty of freedom is you have the option to choose. You have the option to choose. So, all right, let's get into it. Hold on one second. I don't know why. When I start talking, my throat get a little dry and raspy. So I have to keep my warm tea near me. Black women build wealth. I forgot to say I missed you in my hellos. Hey girl, hey. Samir, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Venus says she's considering Portugal and France. Okay. Portugal and France. Oh, Portugal seems to be popular. I don't hear many people talking about they consider moving to France. Yolanda's talking about Mexico. She's considering Mexico. Okay. What's the I want to just travel as I desire with my home base in the US. Okay, Al, I love that. We talked about that before. I love that you decided to do that. That was best for you. So she's still going to get it in. She's still going to leave the country. She's still going to explore the globe, but the US will be her home base. Awesome, awesome. Hey, Dominique, I see you, girl. But let's talk about the criteria that we consider in a new country before we move abroad or slow travel to stay for an extended period of time. I'm going to share my top 10. Five of them are must haves, like absolutely must haves. I will not stay in a country unless these five exist. And the other fives are nice to haves. They're important, but if they don't exist, I'm willing to trade off for something else. And I use the word trade off because I'm not compromising or sacrificing anything or lowering my standards. When I say trade off, I mean if the nice to haves don't exist, there has to be something else that make up for what doesn't exist in the nice to have. Or one of those five must haves must like be so impressive where they just blow me out of the water and I'm like, oh my god, I've never experienced this before, this is amazing. So a trade-off means you are trading something for something else that's better, right? You're trading something for something else that's optimal, which, by the way, that's something you should always consider when you're negotiating, especially in the career field when you're negotiating your salary. You're not giving up, you're not settling, you're not lowering your standards, you're not deciding to do without. When you're negotiating, you trade off one thing for something else that's better. All right. Quick career tip, even though I'm not working anymore. Those are some things I used to do. But anyway, my very first must have. I'm going to talk about my five must haves first. Y'all let me know if you can relate to any of these criteria, if any of these are important to you as well. My very, very first on my must have list is the people. The people. The people must. No exceptions. They must be kind and they must be welcoming. I want to feel welcome as a foreigner in a new country. And I don't mean nice or polite because it's socially acceptable to do so. Americans are nice and polite. Y'all know we put on the mask and we smile, but deep down inside, some of us, I'm not going to say us, some of you are not very kind people. Some Americans are not very kind people, but they are nice and polite when it's socially acceptable to do so, right? I'm not talking about that. And I'm also not talking about the niceness when a foreigner sees me and they hear me speak and they can immediately tell that I'm an American. And because they see me as an American first, they assume that I'm rich. In that case, the niceness and the politeness is transactional because they think I can spend money. They think I can buy something from them. So I don't mean niceness and politeness. I mean genuine kindness, consistent kindness everywhere, inside and outside the tourist areas. Kindness that's so deeply ingrained in their culture, you can feel it. And I've been places like this. Kindness that's so deeply ingrained in their culture, when you experience it, it helps you to relax your natural defenses. It helps you to lower your shoulders. It helps you to exhale. Like, whew, like you don't even realize you've been walking around most of your life holding your breath with your shoulders raised and your teeth clenched and your fists balled up because in the United States, you have to naturally be defensive and keep your head on a swivel whenever you leave your house. But when you're in countries where the people are genuinely kind, it's so polar opposite of what we're used to. You don't even realize you're clenching your teeth. You don't even realize you've been holding your breath or walking around tense and your traps and your shoulders all tight because you're used to being defensive. In those environments, you can relax your natural defenses. And the kindness rubs off on you and it lowers your stress levels. It lowers your stress levels to the point where you start to feel better in terms of your quality of sleep improving, in terms of, how you navigate the world, and you didn't even realize that was possible. And all it took was being in an environment with kind people. Because I'm not leaving the US to go somewhere else and face the same aggression, face the same discrimination, face the same racism. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So y'all let me know. Is the kindness of people an important criteria for you when you're considering another country to call home? How important is that to you? That's my number one. That's my number one. I can stay home and deal with rude people. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Charity Bishop says she would love to live somewhere in South America. She hasn't pinpointed exactly where. Looking forward to this video. Help me decide. Okay. Well, I'm not talking about specific countries. Just sharing the things I want you to consider when you're taking your scouting trip or when you're visiting the country and you are living there as if you're a local. You're not staying in a hotel. You're not doing the touristy things. You're truly scouting out the country. You're renting an apartment. You're shopping at the grocery store. You're talking to the local people. You're dining in some of the local restaurants, doing all the things that you would normally do at home. That is how you can really get insight into some of these considerations that I want you to think about and keep in the back of your mind as you're making a decision. So I will not suggest any countries in this video. I just want to give you some ideas to think about as you're evaluating your countries, right? Yes. Dominique said, good-hearted people. Yes. Good-hearted people. It's so important. Yolanda said it's important to her too. Yes. Samir says the first criteria is why France is off of her list. Okay, there's some sisters in the chat that have France on their list. So for those of you that want to move to France, what is it that attracts you to France? I've only been to Paris, so I don't have an extensive experience where I can form an opinion, and that was only on vacation. So I was only there for maybe 10 days. So I don't have an opinion in terms of what it's like to live there. So I couldn't say. Tanya Brooks said, yes, that's important to her. Yes, the people. The idea of kindness rubbing off on us and lowering our stress. It is so beautiful. It is so beautiful, Jackie. I've never experienced it to the extent that I did. I was about to say I've never experienced it until I got here. I have experienced it in other places, but to the extent that I did when I was in Bali. Balinese people are some of the most kind people I have ever had the pleasure of interacting with. And when I say inside the tourist area, outside the tourist area, it's not a transactional type of kindness where they think you're spending money with them. Like consistently everywhere I went, everyone was kind. And at first I was so shocked. I'm like, it's like I expect rudeness sometimes, which is just an indication of my American way of thinking. And when I didn't experience it anywhere, I'm like, wow, these people are really special. These people are really special. It's it's a different feeling. It's like it lowers your stress hormones. And not to say that you stop being aware of your surroundings and all the safety things that you should always carry with you when you're traveling abroad, but just that exhale is priceless. It's priceless. But let's get into number two. Number two, quality healthcare. Quality healthcare is very, very important to me. It's important to me. Um, I think I've shared this before. I was trying to think if I shared this before, if I wanted to be transparent, but I think I've shared this before. I have pre existing conditions, right? I've had surgery on my spine twice, right? So I have pre existing conditions, and I have no reason to believe that I will need emergency medical treatment or I would have a major uh, medical concern. But because I'm aware that I have pre existing conditions and I walk around in life with hardware still inside of me, I have titanium inside of me. So I do not discount the fact that I'm not 100% in optimal health the way I was in my 30s. So I'm aware that medical care is something I may need because of, my medical history, right? So I could never ever live somewhere that didn't have quality health care um, if something happened, right? And I don't mean just emergency care. I mean where I could go to a quality medical facility to see a top notch doctor, preferably a doctor that could speak English, right? Um, and get the best care that exists. And I do not believe that that only exists in the United States. I do not believe that that only exists in the United States. I used to. I was brainwashed, y'all. I was brainwashed because I used to think that the United States had the best, optimal, state of the art healthcare in the world, and no other world could compare. Yeah, that is part of the brainwashing and the mental conditioning of the American marketing machine, because that's a lie. That's a lie. I do have personal experience that is now evidence. It's a lie. I will share details of it in a separate video because I don't want this video to get too long. I want to do a separate video of the details of my medical experience in the country that I'm in right now. But I'll just give you an example. As y'all know, in the last video, I mentioned that I want to start prioritizing my health, and I've decided that I want to get back to optimal health with understanding of my limitations that there's nothing I can do about it. So one of the reasons why I chose where I am now is because of its quality health care. I had an appointment yesterday. I had an appointment yesterday for a physical, if you will, in the United States, what we would call a physical. And when I tell you this physical was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what was included in this physical, but we'll do a separate video. We'll do a separate video of the details. And I did record content while I was there because I did want to share it all with you. But this is what I posted on my Facebook, on my private Facebook, to my family and friends. I said it was the most efficient, comprehensive medical appointment I've ever had in my life. It included vitals, blood work, an eye exam, hearing test, body fat analysis, bone density scan, cancer markings, chest x-ray, pap smear, cardiology exam, stress test, abdominal ultrasound, a dietitian consult, and so much more. All in one medical center, one top-notch, state-of-the-art medical center, all English-speaking doctors and staff members. Sometimes the doctors speak English, but the staff members don't. This, everybody spoke English. Modern facilities and equipment. The whole appointment was 4 hours, and they provided lunch because I had to fast. I couldn't eat after 10 p.m. last night to prepare for my 8 a.m. appointment because they drew blood and everything. I had to fast. So it was 4 hours long, and then they provided lunch. I received the reports, the results, and the images the same day. Then a doctor reviewed my results and discussed everything with me the same day. The US could never. I share this only because I want you to know if healthcare is the only thing that's keeping you from leaving the United States because you think the US has the best healthcare in the world, baby, that's a lie. That's a lie. There are other countries with quality healthcare that meet and exceed the standards that you're accustomed to in the United States. And I'm sure many of you are probably wondering, how much did this cost? I'm going to share it in the separate video that I do when I break everything down, but I will tell you, it was so cheap, it was less than my deductible. So it didn't even make sense for me to use my insurance. Is quality healthcare important to you when you're considering a country to live abroad? When you're considering another country to move to, even if just temporary, is quality healthcare important to you? That is number 2 for me. It is the top of my list. It's number 2 for me. There are countries that I love, and I'll share. If you've been following me for a while, you know all the 3 countries that I love the most. There is one of the countries in my top 3 that I love that does not have quality healthcare. And that's what I mean by trade-offs. If I were to live there, I would have to consider the trade-offs of what else does it has. What else does that country have that's better, that's substantially better than other countries that I'm considering? That's the only way I would consider a trade-off. But quality healthcare is very, very important to me. I want to be able to get the best care right where I am. Right where I am. I don't want to have to be airlifted home. I don't want to have to be airlifted to another country. In an emergency, I want to have the confidence to know I can get the best quality care right wherever I am. And the experience I had yesterday, that was just a routine exam. That was just a routine exam. So emergency care, I have no doubts. I have no concerns at all. So let me see what y'all think about quality healthcare. Is that important to you? Is that important to you? Yes, Venus. It was amazing. It was amazing. I was texting one of my friends that's planning to do the same thing. She lives in another country. She's coming here to have the same screening. So I was sharing my experience with her to give her a heads up. And we were both amazed, like, wow. Wow. And she asked me, she said, what would all that have cost in the United States? I said, at least $20,000. At least $20,000. So yes, Dominique, better care and more affordable, or at least equivalent care. I won't necessarily say better because I have had exceptional medical care in the United States. Remember, I've had 2 surgeries on my spine. There was a time in my life where I couldn't walk. My neurosurgeon is at Johns Hopkins. I have had the best, what I think is the best neurosurgeon in the world, right? So I do believe that the United States has exceptional medical care, especially in an emergency. But I think there are countries abroad that has equivalent quality care. I used to think that quality care was only available in the United States. So that's the point I'm making. There are other countries that also have quality health care. And to your second point, it's more affordable. It's more affordable. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tanya Brooks says she has pre-existing conditions as well, and she wants to get excellent care. Yeah, I understand. So don't let your pre-existing conditions be anything that hinders you to stay in the United States. There are other countries that also provide quality healthcare. I have no doubt if something were to happen to me or I had complications with my spine or the hardware that's inside of me, I have no doubt that I'll be able to get quality healthcare here. No doubt at all. And I wish I knew this 3 and 4 years ago when I was dragging my feet and being concerned about it. Yes, yes. Healthcare is a reason to leave, especially if you want it to be affordable. When I try to explain to family that U.S. citizens are victims of propaganda, which leads them to believe everything is better than the U.S. Yes, that I was brainwashed. I will admit I drank the Kool-Aid. It's those little small messages that you hear throughout your life. I mean, think about it. In high school, we start pledging allegiance to a flag. That's for a reason. That's part of the design. As adults, we're given the marketing message of the American dream. That's part of the design to make you think America is the best. Right? Now, I'm not saying I don't love my country. I love the freedom that my country provides. I love that blue passport that my country provides. And like I said, I also have received excellent medical care in the United States. But I now know that the propaganda exists because there are also two things can coexist. There are also other countries in the world that are just as good. There are also other countries in the world that do some things better. The United States is not the best at everything. It's not. And even though I don't have small children in the school system, but just based on my experience, I don't believe our education system is the best. Why they don't teach us the metric system? Why am I over here struggling trying to convert kilograms to pounds because I don't understand what that means? Why am I over here trying to convert centimeters to inches because I don't understand what that means? The whole world uses the metric system but us. I feel like I have been failed by the US education system. So, yeah, there are a lot of things that other countries do better. And we can acknowledge what other countries do better while also acknowledging what our country does do well. I am not a person, you will not come on this channel and hear me disparaging everything about the United States. I mean, other than the racism, we will talk about that each and every time. But there are some things that our country does well too. But the point is, there are other countries that do it just as well or better. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Chanel said she just turned 40, so quality healthcare is extremely important. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, yes, the Fahrenheit to Celsius. I was talking to the doctor yesterday and she was like, "Oh, yeah, are you okay with the heat here?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's about the same as a East Coast summer." And I pulled up my map and I said, "Yeah, see, it's the same." And of course, my app is saying 80, 85, and 87 degrees. And it was also 87 degrees here yesterday. And she said, "Oh, that's Fahrenheit." And we were both trying to do the conversion. I'm like, you know what? Why we just can't get on the same page with everybody else in the world? Why we got to be special? Don't nobody say Fahrenheit in pounds and inches, but us. Literally, no one else is using it. No one else. I feel so behind. But anyway, let me get into number 3. The last five must nice to haves. We're going to go through quickly, but these 5 must haves are important, so that's why I'm spending so much time talking about them. But number 3 on my top 5 list of must-haves is warm weather. Warm weather. I prefer warm weather year-round. And warm for me is anything above 75, but below 95. I can't do hot, like sweltering hot. So in Celsius, I think that is, look, the US education system failed us, y'all. I think that's about 32 Celsius. Uh, so my top 95 degrees is 7 p.m. Friday. Why did that song just pop in my head? 95 degrees. 35 Celsius. So that's my max. That's my cap. I can't do hotter than that. But because of my pre-existing conditions and having hardware inside of me, when the weather gets too cold, I literally feel cold in my bones. It makes me stiff, my shoulders raise, my muscles tense, and I feel pain throughout my body, and it almost paralyzes me to the point where I can't move. So I cannot live anywhere that gets too cold. And that's one of the reasons why I can no longer call my home, the East Coast, United States, home year round, because it gets all four seasons. In the fall and the winter, I wouldn't leave the house because my body is in pain. I can't live like that anymore. So I prefer warm weather all year round, and I actually prefer humidity. I know a lot of people don't like the humidity. I prefer the humidity, again, because of my body. My body prefers the humidity. When it's hot and humid, I feel more flexible. I feel more fluid. The stiffness that I get, it completely goes away. And when I'm more flexible and my body just feels more fluid, I can be more active. Y'all know I love taking my wealth walks in the morning. I don't mind walking in the heat in the morning. I don't mind walking in the humidity in the morning, right? Because that's when I'm most active and when I feel my best. When it's cold, or even when the breeze is chilly, cold to me is could be in the 70s. When I'm cold, I get stiff and I feel pain. So warm weather and humidity, that's my jam. I'm not opposed to it. I don't like feeling stiff. And the humidity makes me feel more flexible. So I love it. It helps me to be more active. Um, I don't mind rainy weather, like a season of rain, as long as it's not year round, as long as it's not every single day all year long. I think I think rain has its place, right? It's part of the circle of life. So I'm okay with a rainy season because it's like a good reset, right? And rain it's great sleeping weather. It's a perfect Netflix and chill kind of day. Um, yeah, so rain doesn't bother me. However, I do not want to live anywhere where there are hurricanes. That's why I can't live in the Caribbean. I cannot live in the Caribbean. I know Barbados is outside of the hurricane belt. But to me, I think Barbados was kind of expensive. But I couldn't live in the Caribbean because I can't do hurricanes. I can't do hurricanes. Um, I don't like earthquakes, but I realized my very first experience with an earthquake was when I was in Panama and I was in a high rise building on the 57th floor. So during the earthquake, I'd never experienced one before. It freaked me out. And I've never been on the 57th floor when it happened. So, of course, the building moved. And I thought it was the second coming of Jesus. I thought the whole world was about to end. I didn't know what was happening. I realize now, as I'm doing my research, certain countries that are on the, what do they call it, the seismic plates in the earth, they're susceptible to earthquakes as long as I'm not in a high rise. I could not live in a country that is susceptible to earthquakes and live in a high rise. Because what I experienced in Panama, I can't, I don't know if my heart will be able to take that again. I can't do that again. But as long as I'm on the ground level, like in a regular apartment, not a high rise penthouse suite level type thing, I couldn't do that. So I can tolerate earthquakes if they're infrequent and I'm not high up, right? So again, that's what I consider the trade offs. So if I'm in an environment where the weather is warm year round and my optimal range has a little bit of humidity, right? But it also has infrequent earthquakes, I can trade off that because the weather is optimal for me. Right? Absolutely no hurricanes. I can't do hurricanes. I can't do hurricanes. Mm-mm. Especially hurricanes where the country is like right in the eye of it and there's a lot of damage. Mm-mm. I can't do that. I lived on the East Coast most of my life, all my life actually, and I lived on the edge some of that time where we were hit frequently by earthquakes, and it's not a fun experience. I don't want to live somewhere where I got to board up every season, where I got to escape every every season. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So there are some trade offs that I'm willing to do when it comes to the weather. But I also have some, nope, don't want that. So warm all year round, a little bit of humidity, a little bit of humidity, and rain is okay, and some infrequent earthquakes are okay as long as I'm down low. As long as I'm down low. So what do you guys think about that? Is the weather important to you? Dominique? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Baja said Barbados is expensive. I've only been on vacation. That was when I was in my vacation mode. So probably only stayed there like a week. I loved it. In fact, Barbados was my very first solo trip. I posted a screenshot on Instagram, Facebook, Facebook memories, how they remind you of, posts that you did in the past. And 11 years ago, I took my very first solo trip to Barbados. That was a cool memory. But he said it's an ideal location where hurricanes usually aren't strong enough to do damage. Yeah, they're outside the hurricane belt, but it is uh, it is expensive. I was on 22nd floor of a building in the Northridge. Ooh, yes, girl, Dominique. Woo, child, on the 27th floor when an earthquake hit. That experience was so scary. It's like I was seeing lightness and dark. It would get light and it would get dark. And I didn't understand why. I was like, what in the world is happening? And it's because the building was swaying. In hindsight, it makes sense. But while it was happening, girl, I just knew Jesus was descending. And I was repenting for all of my sins. Baby, talking about reciting scripture that I hadn't used in years. It was all coming back to me. Ah. He said you can't do earthquakes. Okay. Lena. Hey, Lena. I have severe seasonal affective disorder, so I have got to get out of the Midwest before I have to endure another winter. Yeah. Get out of there. Get out of there. Cold and darkness in the winter. Yeah. Get on up out of there. You deserve better. Treat yourself better. Chanel said, absolutely, weather is important. A season of rain is okay. Yeah, I think rain is important. It's part of the circle of life. We need rain. We need rain. Oh, Elsa, Barbados is her favorite island. Awesome. Tortola. I've never heard of Tortola. Hmm. Never heard of that. I might have to research that. Is that outside the hurricane belt too? Dina said, weather is important to her as well. Yep. Yep. Cool, cool. All right, so that's number three. That's number three. The fourth thing that is important to me is visa requirements. Visa requirements. I want to be in a country that has a stable government and that have long-term visa options that are attainable and that also offer favorable tax treatment for investors and business owners. Right? When you get residency in the country and you stay long term, some countries also have tax laws that will apply to you. Right? So visa requirements are very important to me. When I stay in a country, I don't want to just rely on my passport because with the state of what's going on in the world and the decision that we're about to make in our country come November, I believe that he who shall not be named is going to severely affect diplomatic relations around the world. We saw it the first time. So his second time, we give him another chance. The writing is on the wall. I believe it's going to affect diplomatic relations. I don't want to be in a country relying on my passport. Something changes and get kicked out. They'll be like, you got to go. You got to go. I don't want to be one of those people that we see on the news without options, scrambling to decide where to go next. I don't want to, and I hesitate to use this word because it sounds very insensitive, but I don't want to be a refugee, you know, running from my own country, trying to find another country that will accept me and just going to the next closest place that I can land. I want to have the legal right to be in a country and to stay in that country, regardless of what's happening. And I want it to be in a country where I feel safe and I feel welcome. And they have given me permission to stay. Right? Which, by the way, I do not mention safety on this top 5 list because that's a given. That's a given. That's not even a must-have or a nice-to-have. That's a given. I'm not staying anywhere that's not safe, so it's not on my list. But I want to have the legal right to be there. I don't want to be scrambling in the event that something happens around the world. I don't want to be scrambling because there is a major change in government relations. I don't want to be one of those images that I see on the news that just breaks my heart, and it just makes me sympathize with the people. And I'm like, oh my goodness, where are they going? Where are they going? How are they going to get there? Who's going to take them in? I want to have the comfort and the reassurance that I can legally stay here. And I can legally stay here for an extended period of time. So long-term visas are important to me. If I can get permanent residency, that's even better. I currently have permanent residency in Mexico. Mexico, right now, it's just not where I prefer to be. So I've been exploring my other options. I do want to get residency in a second country as well. And when I say long term, to me, long term is more than a year. Anything that's longer than 12 months, right? So that's very important to me. Several of the countries that I've been considering, they all have long-term residency visa options. With the long-term options, you do have to prove your financial solvency. Some of them require you to open a bank account in their country and deposit a certain amount that has to stay in that bank account because they want evidence that you can sustain yourself while you're in their country and you're not just there sucking up all of their resources, right? Some countries have like age requirements. There's one country I would love to get residency in, but the visa that I want, I don't meet the age requirement yet. So it's going to stay on my list, stay on my radar, but I won't be able to live there long term because I don't meet the age requirement. There are some countries that also require you to buy property in the country. I'm not at the point where I'm ready to plant my feet and buy property. So those aren't visas that I would consider just yet. But the visas that are easily attainable, where I just have to show you proof of my income, or I have to open a bank account and deposit $20,000, $30,000, or whatever their requirement is that's based on their currency, the conversion that I've seen is usually no more than $50,000. Those types of requirements I can meet, but the age limitations, nothing I can do about that. And buying property, I understand why a government would require that, because if they are going to allow foreigners to come into their country, they want foreigners to be able to contribute to their economy. And then also, if they're giving you a long term visa, they want to know that you plan to stay there. You plan to set up your new life there. And that involves, buying a home. So the requirements are understandable. But some of them I'm just not interested in. So I look for countries that have visa requirements that are what I consider easily attainable, and then also has favorable tax treatment. So the country that I'm in, any income that you earn that's not earned from an employer within this country, so any foreign income that you earned, they do not tax at all. Zero taxes. They do not tax at all. So it's very, very attractive to me, in this country that I'm in. And at the end of this video, I'll share where I am, why I love it, which of the criteria that it meets, and if I think it's a good option for you. But yes, visa requirements, long-term visa requirements, are very important to me. Let's see, what are you guys talking about? Yes, Dominique said attainable visa requirements and favorable tax treatment is an indication of a welcoming country. Yes, yes. And when I see countries that have very, very strict or high standards for their visa requirements, it doesn't necessarily turn me off from the country. Because to be honest, the United States is not very welcoming to foreigners. The United States require foreigners to jump through hoops, to turn flips, to stand on one leg, spin around. Like, the requirements to get a visa here in the United States is so complicated, so difficult. So why should other countries give us that freedom, that option, if our country doesn't open its doors to their citizens? So it's fair enough. And if I don't meet one of the requirements, it doesn't necessarily take the country off of my list, but it does lower it down my list. And I may circle back and consider it later, like the one I really want, but I don't meet the age requirements yet for the visa that I want. But yeah, anyone else has preferences for visa requirements, the types of visas that you are looking to attain? Where I am right now, they have this visa requirement that's in the process of being changed. So there's been a lot of chatter about it in the expat groups and some of the expat conversations, because it's been changing a lot over the years. But it's called the My Second Home visa. And recently, in the recent past, it was relatively easy to obtain for 5 years. And I've also heard some people get it for 10 years. And until the recent changes, it only required you to open a bank account and deposit a certain amount of money in their bank account. And then, of course, the other traditional parts of the application. But now they're adding so many other requirements that's making it a little more complicated. And a lot of foreigners and expats, they're griping about it. But I understand, it's their country. They don't want a whole bunch of randoms to be able to come in their country. They want the foreigners that they invite here to meet certain standards. And that's understandable. So if I qualify, great. If I don't qualify, oh well. But I have a few that are on my radar. I do not have a second residency yet, but I am in the process of considering where I want to get that second residency. But those are important to me: long-term and favorable tax treatments. Yep. Let's see. Venus, long-term visa availability is important to you too. Okay. The main thing I want you to take away from that one is, please don't rely on your passport. I know that blue book gives us freedom to enter many countries. Most countries we could stay at least a month. There are several countries where we could stay several months, 6 months. I saw one country that allows us to stay indefinitely. I have a list. Hold on, let me see if I can find that. I have a list. There was one or two countries that allows us to stay indefinitely. And it wasn't like a US territory. It was a foreign country. And I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. Let's see if I can find it. The business offers. Oh, I wish I would have pulled this up before I went live. I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it in the comments. But yeah, there are some countries where you can stay indefinitely, but I do not recommend that you rely on your passport as the means of being in that country. If you plan to stay long term, get residency if you plan to stay long term because you want the legal right to be there. All right. If things hit the fan, you want the legal right to be there. All right. And number 5 on my must have list is affordable. Affordable. The cost of living must be affordable. Now, I'm not saying cheap. I know a lot of people move to Mexico because they think Mexico is cheap, and then they get there and they get a rude awakening. I'm not saying cheap. I mean affordable. And what I mean by affordable is, for me, equivalent to or less than what I paid in the United States. Right? If I'm paying as much as I paid in the United States, there must be trade offs. There's that word again. There must be trade offs. So, for example, where I am now, the cost of living is very, very affordable. It is almost standard to live in luxury here, right? And then there's a range of living. But what I like about here is the very modern luxe living that's also affordable. So, for what I was paying in the United States, I can also find a place here that cost about the same, but what I trade off, what I get is substantially more than what I had in the United States. So, it may be the same price, but the luxury and the experience is so much more than what I had. So that is what I would be willing to trade off if the price was the same. However, I prefer to get the luxury and still pay less. Right? But I'm willing to go up to a max of what I paid in the United States. What I will not do is pay more in another country than what I paid in the United States. What I will not do is spend more money than what I spent in the United States. To me, that defeats the purpose of moving abroad. Because most countries in the world, the cost of living is cheaper than the United States. Now, if you lived in a southern state in the US, you may not see it that way. But I spent more than 20 years in the Washington, D.C. area. So if you lived in Washington, D.C., in California, in New York, that's really what I'm talking about in terms of the costs that we paid. So I'm willing to pay up to the equivalent if there's a trade-off, if there's a luxurious trade-off. So that's my max. But I prefer to live in a country that's affordable, that provides the same quality, the same standard of living. I like modern luxury living, but for less. So not cheap, but affordable with trade-offs, with luxury trade-offs. The exchange rate doesn't necessarily affect me. I'm not so much concerned about the fluctuations in the exchange rate, primarily because when I prepared financially to quit my job, when I calculated my FIRE number, financial independence number, when I decided that I have enough and I no longer need to work, that number was based on my cost of living in the United States. So moving abroad, where the cost of living is substantially less, even as the exchange rate fluctuates, it still gets nowhere near what I financially planned for because I'm not paying what I did in the United States to begin with, right? So ideally, for my monthly expenses abroad, what I have experienced so far and what I'm using as a baseline going forward, I want all of my expenses, my housing, my transportation, my food, I want all of my expenses combined, my entertainment, I want all of my expenses combined to be no more than what I paid for housing when I lived in DC. I want everything combined to be no more than what I paid for housing when I lived in DC. So my housing cost alone covers all of my expenses abroad. Last week, or was it the last time I met with the VIP besties, I shared my spreadsheet and I showed them how much I spend on everything every month. By the way, if you're a channel member of VIP Bestie, we meet once a month. I share details of my personal finances. And then I also share like extra pizzazz, extra little sauce that I don't share on the public live stream with my channel members. And I was sharing my spreadsheet, and last month the expenses were substantially higher than normal because I flew first class to Asia. And one of the VIP besties, she was like, girl, even flying first class, even living in luxury apartments, you're still spending less than what I spend at home. I was like, yes, girl, yes. It's cheaper to live abroad. A lot of people assume, oh my goodness, I need so much money. It's so expensive. How do you do it? Girl, my monthly expenses are less than yours. I promise you, my monthly expenses are less than yours. So affordability is important to me. Um, like I said, I would prefer that all of my expenses are less than what I paid for housing when I was living in the DC area. And so far, I have been able to achieve that standard. Uh, my housing costs are the max. My US housing costs is the max in terms of total expenses for me. And I've been to so many different countries since I retired early, and I haven't had any problems staying within that max. The only country I've been to that has been very expensive, and I didn't stay that long, was Singapore. I don't think I would be able to meet that, stay within that limit if I stayed in Singapore long term. And that's why Singapore is not a country I would consider living in. But all the countries that I've been to, all the countries that make my top 5 lists, it's very, very easy to meet this standard, to meet this criteria. So, what do you think about that consideration of affordability? Is affordability important to you, or have you reached a level of FI where the cost doesn't matter as much as the other things that may be a higher priority, which would be understandable? More for the same money. Yeah, it's all about trade offs. It's all about trade offs. So even if I spend the same thing, it's okay as long as I'm getting more for it. Every place that I researched is still cheaper where I live in the South. Oh, okay, Tanya. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. All right. So, my top 5 criteria, just to recap again: kind people, kind people, quality health care, warm weather year round, attainable visa requirements, and affordability. Those are my top 5 must have for any country that I consider living in, even if it's just temporarily, but any country I consider moving to and calling home. All right. Yep, those are my top 5. Venus said affordability is also a major consideration for her too. Yep, yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. What do you all consider affordable? Do you have a limit, like no more than 1,500 a month? I've seen that number thrown around some. What do you consider affordable for you? Affordable for you. Again, what's affordable for me? I use my expenses when I lived in DC as the max ceiling with trade offs, with luxury trade offs that add to my quality of life. So I don't have a specific number that I stick to. I just have a ceiling that I wouldn't go above, right? Where I am now, the country is very, very affordable. Luxury, getting luxury is also very, very affordable. All right. So, my nice to haves, I'll run through these quickly. My nice to haves. It would be nice to not have a language barrier. This isn't a must have because I am not one of those arrogant Americans that think everybody should speak English. You a foreigner up in somebody else's country and think they should speak your language. Girl, no. But it would be nice to be in a country where there isn't a significant language barrier. And what I mean by that is it's a language that you could learn, a language that's relatively easy to learn, like Spanish or French. There are some countries where I know I will never learn their language. Now, I love Thailand. I absolutely love Thailand. But Thai language, and I actually have a friend that's learning Thai, and it's so impressive to me. Thai language is not so much about the words and the letters, it's the sound that's also important. And you could say the same word but use a different sound, and it could mean something completely different. I know I ain't gonna learn Thai. I know the basics, but to be able to actually completely integrate into the culture and build really, really meaningful relationships, I ain't gonna learn Thai. But the trade-off to that, Thai people know English. Most Thai people speak English. So that's what I mean by little to no language barrier, where either the people in that country speak English or their language is relatively easy to learn. At minimum, learn the basics. Learn the basics. Even if the people in that country do speak English, that's a plus. That's a win. Yay. But still be respectful and learn at least the basic pleasantries in their language. But if it's a language that you know you ain't gonna take the time to learn, girl, don't be in that country living in an expat bubble and then there's an emergency, something going on, and you have no idea what's happening around you. Mm-mm. Don't do that. Don't do that. Um, where I'm currently located, everybody speaks English. Like everybody. English is not their first language, but everyone speaks English, even the little mom and pop shops, even outside the touristy area. And it's because not only is English their second language, but they also speak English to each other. So it's not something that they do just for foreigners. It is a language that they speak to each other. So it's part of the fabric of their culture. And it makes it very easy to adapt. My second language will be Spanish only. I see you, Tanya. Elle said Spanish has porque because versus why. Yeah. Thai is a tonal language. Yes, that's what I was. That's a perfect way to describe it. It's not just the words; it's the sound and how you say it. It's not an easy language to learn. It's not easy. Dominique said her top five are the same, similar to mine. Lifestyle is important. I like to be close to nature as well, and big city culture. Okay, I think you would like where I am. I think you would like where I am. All right. The second thing on my nice to have list is a Black expat community, an active Black expat community. I've been to some countries where I love it, um, but there was no visible Black expat community. I'm sure we were there, but there wasn't anything I could find online where the community actually organized itself. I'm searching for Black expats in whatever country, or brothers and sisters in whatever country. Nothing came up. I'm asking in some of the larger groups, and we are there, but there's just no community that has been, you know, formed or unified. And I guess they say, you know, if something you want doesn't exist, you create it yourself. Perhaps if I go back to some of those countries or decide to settle, maybe I would. But a Black expat community is a nice to have. It's not on my must have list because I don't need to be in a country and thrive in that country if there isn't a Black expat community. Um, I love to connect with the locals, to establish local friends. Everywhere I go, I've established local friends. But I also think it's important to have that community of people that you can relate to as a foreigner. Um, Somebody we can talk to about where we get products for our hair. You know, somebody we can talk to about where to get the best food that we like. Somebody we can, you know, connect with and just kick back on a Sunday and have Sunday dinner because it's part of our culture as Black Americans, you know, having Sunday dinner in a familial type environment. You know, someone that you could frankly connect with when it's hard. Adapting to a new country, even if they meet all of your must haves, it's hard. You're an outsider, you're a foreigner, you're the other. So, having a connection to other people that look like you, that you can be with, you know, when things are hard, that you can share how you've overcome certain challenges, that you can support each other as you know, navigate life in that new country. Um, you know, having local friends is very, very important to help you integrate in the country. But having a community of Black, specifically Black American expats, it can make your experience a little better, a little better. It can make that foreign country feel a little more like home. You know what I mean? So that's a nice to have on my list. It's not a requirement, but it is a nice to have. The third nice to have. Before we move on, what do you think about a country having a Black expat community? Is that important to you? Tanya said it's very important to her. Okay, so is this one of your must-haves or a nice to have? Is it a must-have on your list? Um, and another reason why I say it's not a must-have on my list because you can connect with another Black expat without it being a large community, right? Like I'm thinking about one of the countries that's on my top list. There is a large Black expat community, but I, I don't, I'm not active in that group, but I have met other Black Americans that live there, and I only need one or two friends. I only need one or two friends in a country, preferably that live there, not that's transient and traveling and in and out. Um, One or two friends that live there. You, if you vibe, you're on the same page. You have similar energy, similar personalities. I don't need a big community. I just need that one connection. I'm very introverted. I'm sure you guys can tell that. I don't do a whole lot of socializing, a whole lot of bopping around and doing a whole lot of partying. Based on what I share on social media, my life is very simple. It really is what my life is. So I only need one or two connections, even if a large community doesn't exist. Um, so yeah, that's one of the reasons why community at large is not on my must have list, but connecting with another Black American in a foreign country, it is. It is very important. And also connecting with the locals is equally important. Learning the language is an excellent way to find community. Yes. Yes. As soon as I told my local friend that I was here and I was planning to stay a while, she was so excited. She was like, "Oh, we must meet up." And we met up and she loves showing me her city. She loves giving me tips. She's going to help me find an apartment. She was like, "Oh, we need to get you out of the Airbnb." I'm like, "Slow your roll. Slow your roll." um, but yeah, she's been helping me with all kinds of things. Let's see what else. It's nice. It's a nice to have for you because you're moving to immerse in the language. So I really just need people who speak that language. Okay. But before you learn the language, it would be nice to have people that you can talk to give your mind a break while you're learning. Because, child, my Spanish is getting better, but Spanish is an exhausting language for me because my brain still tries to translate as I'm listening. And I've learned that that's something I need to stop doing. Just listen in Spanish and let it sink in and stop trying to translate. So you're an introvert, so I wouldn't go to all the meetings anyway. I just need same, same. That's all that needs to be said. I see you. I understand. Yes, yes. Mm. Lena said I only had one or two friends in the U.S. So definitely don't need more than that in another country. Y'all are my people. Y'all are my people. So yes, a Black expat community is a nice to have, but it's not necessarily a must have or on my requirements list. The third thing that's a nice to have is a major airport hub. A major airport hub. No matter where I live in the world, I'm still a traveler. I am not going to stop traveling. I've just made another country my home base. I'm still going to travel. I need to be in a country where there is a major airport hub. Now, I don't necessarily need to live close to the airport hub, but I want to know that that country has a major international airport where I can get in and out and come and go as I please. And it's not like I got to take a horse and a train and a bus and a helicopter and a mule and a I don't want to have to jump through hoops just to be able to get to another country. I want it to be as easy as taking an Uber or Grab or whatever the local ride sharing service is, get me there to their airport within an hour. Within an hour, so I can board my flight and live my life. Right. So major airport hub is a nice to have for me. Um, if I did not have a major airport hub, there will have to be a substantial trade off. There will have to be a substantial trade off that I need to consider. I cannot think of any country I've been to that I've considered that does not have a major airport hub. And for right now, I cannot think of any acceptable trade off that I would consider for the lack of a major airport hub. Because at the end of the day, I'm a traveler through and through. So even if I live abroad, I will travel for the rest of my life. As long as God gives me breath and my legs can still move, I will travel this world until the end of my days. So I need access to a major airport hub. It's not on my must have list. Maybe it should be. Maybe it should be, only because I can't think of trade offs. But I'm sure there might be some. I'm sure there might be some. But as long I put it on my must nice to have list because I don't have to live near. I don't have to be close to the major airport hub as long as I can get to it within a reasonable amount of time. Uh, so Dominique said international airport is a must have. Sorry, that was Tanya said international airport is a must have for her. Okay, okay. Chanel. Okay, so we're on the same page, Chanel. We need an international airport, but within a certain distance from our home base. So I think that's why I put it on my must have list. I mean, my nice to have list, because it doesn't have to be close, but within a reasonable distance, right? So yeah, like Chanel. But I understand you all that says it's a must have for you. Dominique said it's pretty high on her list. Okay. All right. Yeah, because we got to get around. We got to get around these friendly skies. Absolutely. I can't live out in the boonies with no airport within a reasonable distance, and I got to ride a camel and a plane and a train and a helicopter to get there. Okay, can't do that. Ain't doing it. Number 4 on my nice to have list is modern infrastructure with a modern transportation system. I thought about moving this to my must have list, but the only reason why I didn't is because one of the countries in my top 3 does not have this, but there are substantial trade-offs. But what I mean by modern infrastructure is it makes me think about the country I'm in right now, right? It's very, very easy to navigate, very easy to get around. The quality of life here feels very much like home. It has the best of home with the best of the culture that makes this a comfortable, welcoming place to be. But the grid of the city is very, very easy. The infrastructure is very modern. I don't feel like I've regressed back into the 1950s. In fact, some things about here feels more advanced than the United States. They have a train system that's above ground. They have a train system that's below ground, the LRT and the MRT, and they have two bus systems, and they're all interconnected. You can buy one card, one transportation card, and tap it at every transportation point. Whether you're on the MRT, whether you're on the LRT, whether you're on the bus, whichever one, the same card. Everything is interconnected. There are apps where you can look up the what train to get on or what bus to get on. It'll tell you how long it'll take when it's coming. It's very accurate. The timing is very accurate. It'll show you how many stops there are. Very, very easy to navigate, very easy to figure out. It feels, this country feels, well, the city feels the most closest to DC than any other place I've been because of the infrastructure and the transportation system. Um, in fact, where I am right now, within their train system, and if you follow me on Instagram, you saw this in my stories. Within their train system, they have women only train cars, and they're designated by pink labels. Y'all know I love that so much. I need to create content and share more of this outside of my stories, which I will. Y'all give me a minute. Give me a minute. But there are women only designated areas where you wait for the train. There are women only seating areas on the train. And there's a pink strip inside the train that you can clearly see this is the women only area. And you'll see a whole bunch of men huddled up on the other side of that line. That tickled me so much when I first saw it. I was like, wow, this is so cool. There are women only parking areas, and the parking for women is closer to the building. They have so many things that are integrated in the infrastructure and in the way of living that prioritizes women and prioritizes the safety of women. I love that. I love that. Um, a country that I'm thinking about that does not have a modern infrastructure or a modern transportation system. The reason why I would still consider that country is because of the trade offs of the five things that are in my must have list. They provide all five of those things in an optimal way, like above and beyond anything I've experienced. So I would be willing to trade off this modern infrastructure for the optimal level of my five must haves. But a country that barely provided my five must haves or was missing something in my five must haves, this modern infrastructure would definitely push it up on the list. Because of the modern infrastructure, it makes it easy to adapt to, right? If you're from a major city in your home country and you move to another country that has a modern infrastructure and a transportation system that's easy to navigate, it'll feel like home. It'll feel like home. And especially if the signs are in English or has, the local language, but then English at the bottom, it makes it easy to get around. It lowers your transportation costs. So you're not calling an Uber or, whatever the local rideshare service is. You're not doing that all the time. It's nothing for you to just walk a couple of minutes from your apartment, hop on the train, hop on the bus. It makes living easy when there's modern infrastructure and a modern transportation system. So, yeah, let's see. International airport with natural disasters seemingly on the rise, modern infrastructure is important. It's partly why climate change friendly is as important as weather to me. Okay. Yes, yes. I agree with that. I agree with that, Dominique. The last must nice to have on my list. This is a nice to have list. The last nice to have, and this is very low, and this might seem a little petty to to disregard a country if it didn't meet this criteria, but it's important to me. Good food. Good food. Good quality fresh food too. Good food. I can't go to another country where the food ain't good. I have been in other countries where the food is not good. And y'all want me to tell you which country I think the food is not good and it's popular amongst black expats? Colombia. I think the food in Colombia is horrible. If anybody is living in Colombia or have Colombia on your list, no offense. Live your life, sis. Do you? But I can't live there. And I like Colombia. I've been to Colombia many times. In fact, I spent 2 months in Colombia earlier this year. But could I live there? Nope. I had to find other ethnic foods, which was not easy to do. But Colombian food, local food, nah, bro. I'm a pass. It's, and I don't think Colombians think their food is good either. Colombia is just not known for its food. It's bland to me. It is so freaking bland. And I tried so many different dishes. I'm like, is it just me? And I think I was in one of the expat groups and I was doing a search. I'm like, maybe it's just me. Let me research. Maybe I'm going to the wrong places. When you read other people talking about they walk around with salt and pepper in their bag, I said, I can't. I can't live in a country that don't have good food. I can't live in a country that don't have good food. Nope, absolutely not. The country that I'm in right now, it has amazing food. Not only does it have amazing food, but it's a multicultural society. And I'll share where I am at the end. I'll share. It's a multicultural society, and because the society is multicultural, that means the food is as diverse as the people. And when you have a melting pot of ethnic cultures, y'all know we season the hell out of food. The food is so good. It's so good, and there's a variety of it because it's a melting pot here. Like unlike the United States, where the United States was the whole history, the creation of the United States was a bunch of foreigners, a bunch of foreigners from other countries that came together and settled down, right? But the United States, even though it's a melting pot, there's still a superiority of one culture. Whereas here, it's a melting pot, a true melting pot where everyone is, I won't say considered equal because every country has its ethnic nuances. It's a melting pot where everyone equally takes up space. That's a better way to say it. There are clearly defined neighborhoods of each of the three major cultures. There are easily accessible foods of each of the three major cultures. And because it's such a melting pot, so many other nationalities move here and they set up their shops too. So even if it's not one of the three major cultures that created this country, it's so easy to find ethnic foods from all over the world because so many other people are here too. The food is good. I have not had a bad meal yet. And I've been here twice. I have not had a bad meal yet. And they also have lots of Western options. When you're missing home, when you just crave a cheeseburger or you're craving, I don't know, some macaroni and cheese, they have lots of Western options to choose from. But I have so many options available. I've managed to avoid Western food for now. I'm sure I'll crave it eventually, but I've managed to avoid it. So, good quality food is important. I need good quality, fresh, affordable food too. I don't want no pesticides, no labels where I got to figure out what's organic, what's not organic. A lot of other countries, they don't even need the labels. The food is so fresh, it's all organic. It's all organic. You can buy it from the farmer that planted it in his garden, right? So yeah, good food is important to me. I can't exist with limited food options and bland food. So I can't stay in countries that don't have good food. Let me see what y'all talking about. Later said that's a must-have list. Okay, yes, that's on your must-have list. I feel you. I feel you. Yes, all of you are saying yes. You ain't playing. Good food is important to you too. Yeah, I need good food, y'all. I need good food. Hey, Tanya, three countries made my list based on infrastructure, proximity to airports, food, and safety. Okay, okay. I didn't mention safety only because that's a given. None of us should be moving anywhere that we don't feel safe. Elena, you said you heard people say the food was bland in Colombia. Yes. And the food must taste like food. I mean, the food here is so good. I've been eating stuff that I I was like, I can't believe I like this. It's the way they cook it. It's the way they flavor it. I did a food tour. I have so much content. I'm so behind on sharing my content. I promise I'm going to share it with you all. But I did a food tour, and I had some tongue. I don't know what animal it was, but it was tongue, and it was good. I was I think it was cow tongue. Cow tongue. They had it's very common for them to eat chicken feet soup for breakfast. I haven't been able to indulge in that because if I could see what the animal was, I can't eat it. If I could see, I can clearly see the feet, the toes, the head. I can't eat that, bro. And that guy was like, "But you just ate tongue." But I couldn't see the tongue. It was chopped up and on a skewer. But the feet, no, I'm not. I can't eat no chicken feet, which I'll probably end up trying it one day because they rave about it. They rave about it like it's so good. But I've eaten things here and I'm like, I can't believe I just ate that and liked it. So yes, good food is important. Good food is important. Chanel said the UK has terrible food, but they have other ethnic groups that bring their culture into the mix. Okay. Okay. Elle said she thought I was going to say UK too. Yes, yes. Good food is so important. But anyway, so my five must have, my five nice to haves. We already talked about the must haves. My five nice to haves are no language barrier, a Black expat community, a major airport hub, modern infrastructure and transportation system, and good quality food. Good quality food. So, what do y'all think about the list of must, five nice to haves? Five nice to haves. Um, so, where am I? I saw several of those questions in the comments. I am currently in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I think Malaysia is so underrated. And it's not that it isn't on the radar or unknown. I just think it's underrated. It's my second time here and I absolutely love it. I love it. All the must haves on my list, the people, quality healthcare, which I'll do a separate video on, the warm weather, affordability, and the visa requirements, they meet. Chef's kiss. They meet. The nice to haves, the language barrier, the major airport hub, the modern infrastructure, and the good quality food. So 4 out of 5, they meet. Black expat community, I'm not sure about yet, only because I haven't found a larger community online. But I know we are here because I see people talking about it often. I just haven't made the effort to find us. But I know we are here. But I am not able to find a large Black expat community. I might need to log on to the app, the Black expat app, to see if anyone's on the app here. So, but that's a nice to have. It's not a requirement. Uh, Malaysia is a beautiful country. I feel like Malaysia is a combination of everything people love about Thailand, everything people love about Singapore in terms of the luxury and the advanced technology, and everything people love about Indonesia in terms of the kindness of the people. I feel like Malaysia is a melting pot of the best of all three of them combined. It's a beautiful place. This is my second time here. I came back because I loved it so much. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a fluke. So I decided to come back and stay a little longer. And I love it. Uh, the other two places that are in the top 3 of my list, they either meet all 10 criteria or they meet my must haves with trade offs of my nice to haves is Chiang Mai, Thailand. And y'all know my favorite place, Bali, Indonesia. I love all 3 of them for different reasons. So I've decided not to choose between them. I have freedom and I have options. So my plan is to get a second residency in at least one of them, but still split my time between all 3 for extended periods whenever I want. I say I've moved abroad because I'm not returning to the US anytime soon. I have brought everything with me. I'm not returning to the US anytime soon, so somewhere in Southeast Asia will be my home base for the foreseeable future while I continue to travel the world. I guess you can call me officially a digital nomad now because I'm not going back to the US. But I'm here in Southeast Asia. I'm not leaving for quite a while. But between the 3, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Bali, Indonesia, and Chiang Mai, Thailand, I love all 3 of them for different reasons. And I don't want to choose, and I don't have to. And I want you to know you can love multiple countries too if they meet your criteria. And nothing says you have to choose. Now, unless you have small children that are in school. I don't. I don't have no kids. I live a different life. Y'all know how that meme goes. But you don't have to choose either. You don't have to settle for just one country. I do want you to get residency in at least one other country because when our country falls apart, I want you to have somewhere where you can legally go to. So get residency in at least one of them. But you don't have to plant your feet. You don't have to sign any contracts. You don't have to buy property. You don't have to get a lease. You don't have to do any of that if you don't want to. But find a home base, get residency, and continue exploring the world. Continue exploring the world. So do I think Malaysia, specifically Kuala Lumpur. Do I think this is a good place for Black women to consider? Absolutely. Absolutely. The people are kind. I have been able to relax my natural defenses. My central nervous system is so relaxed. My sleep has been some of the best sleep ever. The availability of luxury apartments where you have modern furnished apartments with rooftop bars, with rooftop pools, with a doorman, with security, with that's within the city center where you have easy access to a train, or it's walkable. It's walkable to beautiful parks. Y'all know how much I love my wealth walks and how much I love green spaces and water. It's walkable to beautiful parks. It's walkable to like major landmarks and attractions. Now, I will tell you, from a touristy perspective, it's not a lot to do in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. There are probably about maybe 5 or 6 popular things that most tourists do when they come here. But after you knock those things out, it's not a lot to do from a touristy perspective. But to come here to live, you can most certainly live a quality life with lots of options that you enjoy in terms of regular everyday life. The culture here is a combination of Malay, Indian, and Chinese. I have seen people as dark as me, and I have seen people that just run the shades of all African Americans, right? They are a combination of cultures. They bring their cultures from home, their foods from home, and I love indulging in all of that. The only problem, I also don't want to paint a rose colored lens, right? I want to be honest about the downside too. The only problem that I have personally experienced for right now, and I say for right now because I may experience other problems in the future, and if I do, I'll tell you about them. The only problem that I have personally experienced, and I've shared this with others, and they haven't been too surprised, even I've shared it with my local friends. There are a lot of Chinese tourists that come here. And I don't know if you've traveled to other countries and you've had interactions with Chinese tourists, Chinese from the mainland China. In my experience here and in other countries around the world, anytime I've had interactions with mainland Chinese tourists, it has not been a pleasant experience. In my experience, and I'm not saying this to discriminate or to say anything racist, this is my experience. And when I've shared my experience with others, they've had similar experiences. I find them to be rude, aggressive, loud, and they view Black people as if they're less than, or like we are some object in a museum. I have learned how to deal with them now. Initially, I was shocked. Like I was taken aback. I was offended. Like they'll just put a camera in your face and just take a picture. Not like the Thai, not like the Indonesians that are friendly, that'll ask you and that are okay if you say no. In my experience, mainland Chinese tourists are aggressive and rude. They will make you feel like you're an object instead of a person. And when I initially experienced it, I didn't know how to respond because I was so surprised. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it took other people from other countries that were on like the same tour as me or in the same environment to give me the scoop on what was happening. And then they spoke up for me and defended me. And after multiple interactions, I'm learning how to deal with them. I match their energy. Not their rudeness, but I match their energy. You have to let them know this ain't what you want. And when I match their energy, they back down. One guy, where I am right now, I'm in an Airbnb, so the building is very touristy. We were in the elevator. And you know, the elevator has mirrors all around. This guy behind me put his camera up to my head to take a picture. I saw him. You know what I did? I turned around and I put my camera in his face and I took a picture because I wanted him to see I saw what you did. And I wanted him to see if you do it to me, I'm going to do it to you. How does that make you feel? So I've learned to match their energy. And when I do, their eyes lower, their body language becomes very submissive, almost like apologetic. But it's an experience that I've had consistently. And it's not with the local Chinese Malay. I can clearly tell the difference when it's the mainland Chinese tourist. I have a local friend that's Chinese Malay, and I shared this experience with her. And she validated everything I said, my experiences, their reactions, everything. She was not surprised by anything I shared. And she's Chinese herself, but she's Chinese Malay. So if you come to an Asian country, just be aware that if you interact with mainland Chinese tourists, you may have this experience as well. And when you first have this experience, it may be a little jarring. It was very jarring for me. It may make you feel a little uncomfortable because they treat you like an object. And I don't think it's the same as saying, well, most Asians have never seen Black people, so they are just curious. That's not true because I have not had this experience with any other Asian community. And I love Asia. I've been to Thailand. I've been to Cambodia. I have not been to Vietnam yet, but I've been to Indonesia. I've been to the Philippines. I've been to Singapore. I've been to Malaysia. I've been to many Asian countries. While those countries may be a homogenous community and do not see Black people often, they are not rude. They are not aggressive. In fact, in Thailand, they might make you feel like a celebrity because they do ask to take pictures of you, but they're nice about it. They're nice. It does not feel like you're being degraded or you're like on display in a museum. Thai people are very, very nice about it. They're very kind. They want you to take pictures with their babies. They want you to take pictures and the whole family will jump in. I don't mind that, especially if I'm in a good mood. But what I do not like is the rudeness and the aggression that I feel when I'm around mainland Chinese tourists. I've never been to China. I have no desire to ever go to China because of my experiences, not just here in Malaysia, but my experiences in countries around the world when I interact with them. So I share that because it's a lot of them here. This is close, it's their neighbor. It's a lot of them here. But just know that it is not the residences of Malaysia. It is not the citizens of Malaysia. It's the tourists that are coming from the mainland. So just be aware of that. The only other challenge, well, it's not a challenge. The only other somewhat negative thing is the changes in the My Second Home visa process. But that's something you're going to experience with every country. Every country is always changing their rules. I wish I would have been able to get a visa before the current changes have taken place. And I'm not even sure what the current requirements are anymore because they're constantly changing them. So I follow the Nomad Capitalist, and he gives like up-to-date news on the current changes. So that's the only downside. If I wanted to get residency here, I'm not sure what visa to even apply for yet. I want the My Second Home visa, but there's so many changes going on. I really want to wait until things settle down a little bit where the requirements are clear, and I know exactly what I need to do. But until the requirements are clear, I'm just kind of in limbo. But other than that, those are the only unpleasant opinions I have about Malaysia. But again, the word trade-offs. the things I love about this country, my top 5 must-haves, and then my 5 nice-to-haves, they meet, I think, all of them. Malaysia meets all of them. And I think it's a great place to be. I think it's amazing, an amazing place for you to consider. The food is good, good, good. Very affordable, very affordable. Uh, the luxury apartments I've seen, like even on Airbnb, Airbnb with all this fees and all the stuff that it tax on, and all the utilities are included. There are luxury apartments on Airbnb, fully furnished, in service buildings with doormans, rooftop pools, rooftop bars. There's a wine lounge in this building. You can rent an apartment for about 900 a month. 900 a month. So the trade-offs are amazing. If I have to deal with a rude Chinese tourist every now and then, I'll deal with it. I'm learning how to deal with them better. I'm not jarred by it anymore. I expect it now. So when it doesn't happen, I'm surprised actually. But it's good to know that it's the tourist, not the local community. One thing I love about the local community is how respectful they are to women. I learned recently there's a word that they call women. It's called, and I'm sure I'm going to say it wrong, but I think it's called kak. It's a word that means sister. They refer to all women as sister. It's a term of endearment, and it's also a term of respect. And to see another brown person refer to me as sister, it reminds me so much of African American culture back at home. So that was interesting. Um, the religion here is also very diverse, because of so many ethnicities here. So you'll see a mosque, a temple, and a church on the same street. You'll hear call to prayer, and then church bells on the same street. So even the religion is very diverse. But Malaysia is a predominantly Muslim country, but they are liberal, for lack of a better word. They are a liberal Muslim country. So not like the countries in the Middle East where they're very, very strict laws, certain ways you got to dress. They're very restrictive about other religions and other ways of life. Malaysia is a very liberal country that is welcoming to everyone, that's welcoming to other religions, other races, other cultures, other people. And it's the multicultural environment that I really like about this place. And yeah, I love it. And I think it will be a wonderful place for Black women to consider. And as soon as they figure out the My Second Home visa requirements, it is a visa that I would like to apply for if I can meet the new requirements. So I said a lot, I dumped a lot. Let me go back to the comments to see what I missed, and then we can wrap up here. Man, we've been on here for 2 hours. This has been a good conversation, though. Steinberg said, good food is in our DNA, so it's a must. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a must. Yes, Lena, come to Malaysia. Come to Malaysia. One of my friends that live in Bali, she's coming to Malaysia to hang out with me, and we're going to explore some other parts. Right now, I'm in the city, the main city, Kuala Lumpur, but there are other parts of Malaysia I want to explore too. Penang is on the beach, so I'll be in Penang next month, and I'll explore some other parts outside of the city limits. Yes, yes, the beautiful beaches. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to experience more of Malaysia. How long is the flight? Ooh, child, it was a long flight. Um, my flight here was 21 hours. 21 hours. I had a layover. I flew from DC to Doha, Qatar. The layover was really short. It was an hour and a half layover. And then from Doha to I actually went to Thailand first. I went to Thailand first. So from Doha to Bangkok. So to get in Southeast Asia. Um, Total travel time was about 21 hours. And then the Southeast Asian flight from Bangkok to Kuala Lumpur was like less than 2 hours. So I think even if coming from the United States straight here, it should still be about the same time. So at least 20 hours, sis. It's a long flight. That's the only real downside to coming here is the flight. And the flight, depending on how you like to travel, it could be expensive, right? It could be expensive. But if you come here, I think there's so much variety to explore. There's so much to love. Plan to stay for a while, and then it'll make that flight worth it. But if you're coming just for vacation or just for like 2 weeks, yeah, that price could be a hindrance because the flights are long and the flights are expensive. See, Dominique says she visited Malaysia years ago and loved it. The people, the food, the weather. Yes. All, all of the above, the people, the food, and the weather. Yeah. I know some people complain about the weather in Malaysia. They say it rains a lot. Um, it does. It does. It rains a lot, but it's so predictable. Like it rains at the same time every day, from my experience, since I've been here, since the short time I've been here. I haven't been here through rainy season. I think their rainy season is December, January, and February. I think. Um, but outside of rainy season, it does still rain, but it's so predictable. It rains at the same time every day, and it might rain for 30 minutes. I can live with that. I can live with that. It's like the rain is washing off the dust or something. Washing off the dust or something. But yeah, so that is a complaint I have heard about Malaysia. But so far it doesn't bother me. The rain doesn't bother me. Have you spent time in Penang in addition to KL? Not yet. Not yet. I am going to Penang sometime next month, or the early part of next month. So I will give you some more input then. One thing I can say is every part of Malaysia, even though it's a melting pot that has the three main cultures, there are certain areas of Malaysia that certain expats are attracted to, right? And it's my understanding that most Chinese expats and most Chinese tourists settle in Penang. So I keep that in the back of my mind to manage my expectations of the experience that I may have there. It's not discouraging me from anything. If I love it, I might consider that as a home base. Um, but with that in my mind, I'm not sure if Penang would compare to KL for me. But we'll see. We'll see. I may have a wonderful experience and I'll keep you posted. Mhm. I had a feeling you picked somewhere in Asia. I've been hearing folks talk about Kuala Lumpur. Yes. Thank you, Dominique. Thank you. Thank you. Which, by the way, my name here is very common because it's a predominantly Muslim culture. My name is Arabic. My full name is Arabic. So when people see my passport, like when I went to the doctor's office yesterday and they saw my name on my passport, they looked up like they were looking for one of them. And I love that I don't have to explain my name. I love that I don't have to correct people when they pronounce it wrong. My name is normal here. There are other Malikas here. There are other Maliks here. I love that. It makes me feel so welcome because they either call me by my name and say it correctly the first time, or they call me the cat. I think I'm saying that right. Or they call me sister. I love it. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Chanel said, let me know when your meetup in Southeast Asia is. Which reminds me, if you are in my Sister Circle Mastermind, I posted in our community my birthday plans. I have a major milestone birthday coming up this year, and I invited my sisters to join me. I am booking a huge, sprawling private villa. Each person would have their own private space, their private en suite bathroom. We will hire a private chef to provide the birthday dinner and the Christmas dinner for us. I told my sisters I know it's a big ask because it's the holidays. It's so hard for me to get my friends together on my actual birthday. And for me to ask them to do something on the other side of the world with me is an even bigger ask. So I'm okay if they can't make it. But I did put it out there in my Sister Circle Mastermind community to invite them to come spend my milestone birthday with me. But once I get settled down somewhere and get my residency, I will have a larger a larger meetup. Let's see. Hey, hey, thank y'all. Thank y'all. I feel so at home. I feel so at home. I feel so welcome. Again, I'm not planting my feet in any one place. There are 3 countries I love, and I don't have to choose. And when you have freedom, you don't have to choose either. Go where you are treated best. And I feel like I'm treated very well here. Yes, there are good schools outside the US too, many international English speaking schools. Absolutely, absolutely. There is here in KL, there is an expat. It's a neighborhood where most of the expats are drawn to. It's a suburb right outside of KL, and that's because that's where the best, they have 2 highly rated, world renowned international schools in KL, and that's where a lot of the families settle down. I'm young and I'm thriving. I have no kids, so I'll probably stay in the city center. I probably won't move outside the suburbs. But yeah, a lot of the expats move into the suburbs where the international schools are. Oh, child, yes, the food is off the chain. Now, I will say, some of their food is very spicy. As Americans, our palates are not used to spice. Now, you Caribbean Americans, y'all love it. I know. I'm a regular American. I can't do spicy. I can't do spicy. So I have to tell them no spicy, no spicy, or little spicy. And there was one restaurant I went to, and I asked him to measure the spice for me. I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how spicy is it? And he said, about a 5. So I'm thinking, oh, that's just a little spice, a little medium spicy. Y'all, that 5 put my mouth on fire. So now I ask, not on the Malaysian scale 5, on the global scale 1 to 10. How hot is it? I can do a Malaysian 2. The food, some of it is very spicy. And anytime they give you food without sauces on it and they give you the sauces on the side for you to pick and choose and dip however you want, anything that's red, I ain't fooling with it. Mm-mm. I ain't fooling with it. I can't. My esophagus is not able. But the food is very good. Food is very good. Let's see, Tanya, got one residency down. Congratulations. But you need a second one too. Next year starts my exploration of Asia for a potential second regional home base. Black women need a plan A, B, and C. Yes. Yes. A plan A, B, and C. So I have residency in Central, well, Mexico is still considered North America, but I have residency in Latin America, so close to the United States if I need to be there. I want residency in Asia. And I also want residency eventually in a European country. But that's not a priority on my list right now. But I want to be able to go wherever I want to go. Yes, they like to take pictures of you. It was like that when you visited Korea, but they were not rude. Yeah. Yeah. Asians will want to take pictures of you. You know, they're just used to seeing their own kind, right? People that look like them. So when they see our beautiful brown skin, they're like, ooh, she looks beautiful. I would love to have a picture of her. So I get it. I understand their fascination with us as long as they are not rude about it. As long as they are not rude. And most Asian countries are not rude, except The one, except the one. Chanel said she was Beyonce and Rihanna in Thailand. You are a celebrity in Korea. Yes, they will treat you like a celebrity, honey. They will treat you like a celebrity. I love it. I love it. Let's see. I'm going down the comments now. Hey, Anya. I see you. Anya says hello to everyone. Have I visited Portugal? Yes. Yes, I visited Portugal. I have been to Lisbon, of course. I've also been to uh what's the one in the north? What's that city in the north? Been to the one in the north and the one that's on the beach. The names escape me. But yes, I've been to Portugal, several areas of Portugal. Portugal does not appeal to me. I know it's popular amongst the Black expat community, but it doesn't appeal to me mainly, especially Lisbon. I can't do the hills. Girl, I've been to Lisbon twice. And after the second time, I said, nah, bro, I ain't coming back here no more. I'm not fit enough. And the first time I visited Portugal, I was a runner. By the time I left there, baby, my calves, my quads, my thigh, my everything was hurting. I said, no, ma'am, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. So no, I like Portugal. I don't remember if the food was good in Portugal or not. But I understand the draw to Portugal. The people are very kind. The cost of living is very affordable, so I understand the attraction to it. But it's not a place that I would consider. Not for me. I have the same experience. Alona, I got the same rude experience from mainland Chinese people all over the world. And you are Asian yourself. See? And when I talk to my local friends that are also Asians, they say the same thing. I have been in countries where I've heard the tour guide tell us that they do not do tours with Chinese tourists. They refuse to do tours with Chinese tourists because they are so rude. So I know it's not just me. It's not just me. But thank you for sharing that, Alona. I've learned how to accept it as the reality now, especially if I plan to live in an Asian country, and I'll just deal with it. And I'm glad to know that it's just the tourists, not the local population where I choose to live. To my knowledge, Tanisha, Malaysia does not have a winter. It's warm all year round. It can be rainy, and they also have a rainy season, um, but it's warm all year round and it can get very humid. So if you do not like the humidity, consider that. I personally like the humidity, or I should say, my body likes the humidity, and I like the way I feel when my body is more flexible. It rains the same time every day for just a few minutes. Same time every day. Very predictable. You can plan your life around it. It's so predictable. Um, and y'all, the only reason why I'm not rushing to get off here today, because I read on the news, and that's another thing. I started following all the Malaysian accounts on social media, so I'm keeping up to date with what's going on in the world around me, and everything is in English, so it's very easy to keep up with. But they are closing 14 major roads because today is the king's coronation. So it's a big cultural celebration going on. And I was going to try to walk somewhere to find like maybe a park where they may show it on the Jumbotron or something. But I've been asking locals, and I asked a few people when I was in the medical center yesterday. I asked several people, and they were like, because I was thinking it was kind of like a presidential inauguration, at home, like a big to do. And it was like, we don't do that here. We're just going to watch them on TV. So I was like, oh, okay. But 14 roads will be shut down, so traffic will be ridiculous. So I ain't going nowhere. I have plenty of food to eat for today, so I don't need to order no Grab and have to wait hours for it to be delivered. But the King's coronation is today, and I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling in the house today. Let's see. Everyone is having a milestone birthday this year. Yep, yep. I will turn the big 5-0 this year. You're welcome, Miss Venus. You're welcome. And Anya, thank you, thank you. Months early. Months early. My birthday is in December. My birthday is on Christmas Eve. So it's always hard to have a party or have a get together. But that's okay. I always have amazing experiences when I'm abroad or when I'm traveling. Yeah, let's see. Congratulations. I love that you found a place. Yes, that resonates with you. I've got a feeling the residency requirements will work out in your favor. I received that. I received that. I received that. I will let you guys know as things change. You love Southeast Asian food? Child, me too. Me too. Except the spicy. Except the spicy. She said in a few years I'll be eating 7 plus. I had a dietitian consult yesterday as part of my physical. Amazing. The US would never. But she was talking to me about why they eat spicy foods and also why they like to use saunas. Um, and I'm not knowledgeable enough to be able to explain it, but apparently it's the spice in the food and the heat in your body. It increases your metabolism or something, or it helps you to release toxins, and basically ultimately it improves your health. It improves your health. So maybe I'll adapt to the spiciness eventually. I hope. But we'll see. I'm at a level 2 right now. As of July 2024, I'm at a level 2. We'll see. Have I been to Spain? Yes, yes. I've been to Barcelona and Madrid. I love Barcelona. I love Barcelona. I thought the people in Barcelona were nice. And I use nice to distinguish between kind because I have not experienced the kindness that's in Asia anywhere in the world. I thought the people were nice and I thought the food was good. Um, Barcelona is beautiful. The train system, the infrastructure, a lot of the stuff that's on my must have and nice to have list is there. Um, would I live there if I had to choose? I would choose Barcelona over Madrid. I had um little unexpected, unpleasant experience when I was in Madrid. So I have no interest in going back to Madrid, but Barcelona, I would. And I hear some other parts of southern Spain are very attractive to Black expats. Um, the names escape me, but I haven't been to those countries that are in the southern part that a lot of Black expats tend to navigate to. But Barcelona, I would vacation there again. I would go back there again for vacation, but it's not a country I would want to live in. Chanel says she loves my life. I love my life too. It's been a long time coming, y'all. It's been a long time coming. Y'all know my story. I was a mom at 17. Life was hard for a long time. So when I share my life now, it's because it's been a long time coming. I hope no one ever views me as bragging or anything. I just share openly because getting here has not been easy. But now that I'm here, I'm not going to hide it. I deserve it. I deserve it. And you do too. And frankly, you do too. Because life as a Black woman in the United States is not easy. So if you can create a life for yourself that you love, regardless of where that is, you deserve that and you deserve to pursue it and make it your reality. And then talk about it. Share your testimony. Share it with other people you know, especially other Black women, so they can know that it's possible for them too. Yes. Do I have a tub in the bathroom? In my unit that I'm in right now, there is not a tub. However, in this building, there are other units with tubs. And let me tell you the only reason why I didn't choose them And they were the beautiful tubs. Some one unit, well, there were several units, but some units have like the old fashioned tubs with the claw feet. And other units have they're more modern with the seating that's next to the shower. I'm gonna tell you why I didn't choose the one with the tubs. The pictures that I saw on Airbnb, the tubs were like in front of the window. And although the window in the bathroom had like a covering on it, but it was like little holes that you can see through. And I was like, why would they put the bathtub in front of the window? And I'm sure it's perfectly fine. But my brain just could not process the way they created the building and putting the tub in front of the window. And although there was a covering, and I'm sure from the outside the covering was perfectly fine, but I I couldn't bring myself to reserve it. But it was very nice. So no, the unit that I'm in, it just has a shower, a standing shower. But there are units in the building that have a tub. Uh, See y'all later. See y'all later. Yeah, we're about to wrap up here. I appreciate y'all for hanging with me for so long tonight. Let me roll through the comments to see what else. Oh, you turning 50 this year too? Yes. Congratulations. I see. I was sure you were going to choose Bali. That's the thing. I have not chosen Bali. I love all three places, and I am not choosing between any of the three. I have decided I'm going to split my time between them when it's best for me. So, depending on the optimal weather, whatever is going on in that country, like for example, Chiang Mai, Thailand. I love Chiang Mai, Thailand. But there is a time of year where they have burning season, where throughout the country, everyone burns all of their trash. It creates a lot of pollution in the air. For people that are not accustomed to that type of pollution, it makes it very, very hard to breathe. So, if I were to live in Chiang Mai, Thailand during burning season, I would leave. And I would probably leave and go to Bali, for example, during Thailand's burning season to get as far away from the pollution as I can. So I'm not choosing any one of them. I am keeping them all open as options. Chiang Mai, Thailand, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Bali, Indonesia. I will spend extended time in all of them and use one of the three as a base when I'm exploring other parts of the world. And I repeat that again at that level of detail because I want you to know you don't have to choose either. If you love multiple countries, you have the freedom to stay in all of them. The only limitation is for those with families that have small children that need to be in school. I understand. You need to set up a real home, set up a base, and completely immerse yourself into that country for your little ones. But if you're like me, you're single, ready to mingle, which by the way, oh Lord, do y'all follow me on Instagram? The men in Malaysia are fine, fine. Look, this why I couldn't live in Mexico. Mexico, they little. Mexico's a little. All the Mexicans, they little, they short. I'm short too, but I don't want no little man. The men in Malaysia are fine. I've been posting pictures, child. I'm talking about fine, fine. Malaysia is a mix of Malay, Indian, and Chinese. Imagine that combination together. Oh, child, these Indian men, fine. Fine and friendly. Imagine that. Fine and friendly. But you're single, you ain't got no kids. You don't have to choose one country, sis. Go where you are treated best. Sevilla, that's in southern Spain. That's the other area I could not remember. Yes, I've heard good things about it. I've never been, but I have heard good things about it. So whenever I'm at the point in my life where I'm ready to explore residency in Europe, that may be on my list. So thank you for sharing that. Uh-oh. Do you feel, as a registered dietitian, you can confirm the spiciness Is that what you're saying, Lena? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's what the dietitian was trying to explain to me yesterday. Kind of went over my head because I can't do spicy. Rhoda, Spain, and the south of Spain are wonderful. Okay. It's a compound in spicy foods that has many health benefits. Okay. I'm a registered dietitian. Y'all heard it here first. Good to know. Maybe I'll graduate to level 3. Maybe I'll graduate to level 3. We'll see. Thank you, Venus. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Tanya. My transparency. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being here. Do you feel lonely at all? Have you made friends in the region? How often do you connect with your mini me? I do not feel lonely. I think there is a difference between lonely and being alone. And I very rarely feel lonely, primarily because I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert and I like being alone. I recharge my energy alone. Being around people and socializing, I, what you see on online is what I am in person. So I can be a very vibrant, energetic person, but it drains my energy. So I restore my energy when I'm alone. I like my quiet time, my peace. I like reading. I like when I get off of this live, I'll probably go lounge on the couch or in the bed that I'm looking at and looking out this view and just enjoying the view. So no, I rarely get lonely. I won't say I never, but I rarely get lonely. And that's one of the reasons why connecting with one or two people, whether it's a local or another Black expat, is important. So when I do want to connect with others, I have someone I can reach out to. Have I made friends in the region? Yes, I have. I have two local friends that I've made here. In fact, I hung out with her a couple of days ago. And then she's also the one that has offered to help me find an apartment if I decide to rent an apartment. And I have another local friend that I just recently made, and I use the friend loosely because these are people I just met, that I just recently made that lives here in the building. This building has a lot of tourists, but she actually lives here and owns the condo here. And she's been giving me, the 411 about the area. And she was the one that told me where to make my doctor's appointment. So she turned me on to like one of the best hospitals, one of the best medical facilities in KL. So yeah, I've made two local friends. How often do I connect with my mini me? On FaceTime? At least a couple of times a week. At least a couple of times a week. His parents and I have been talking lately, and he does not have a passport yet. I have been getting on him, getting on them about it. If you are watching, get on it. But his dad promised me that he would have a passport by December. So the plan is once he gets a passport, they will visit me first so that when he gets out of school again, he can come back to me and I can keep him for the entire summer. So that is what I envision. That's what I would like to happen, but it's all predicated on his mom and daddy getting his passport, which dad promised will be done by December. So we'll see. So until he get his passport, I just connect with my baby on FaceTime, and I'll have to deal with that until we can be in person again. Yes. Is there a gym in my building? Yes. There's a gym in the building on the top floor. There's a gym, there's a pool, there's a wine bar, there's a co-working space. In fact, I was gonna go to the co-working space to do this live, but I was slow when I woke up, and it was already 8 o'clock, and I needed to get started. But there's a co-working space. There's a grocery store in the building. There's a grocery store in the building. There's a coffee shop in the building. Lots of amenities in the building. But yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, I've posted some pictures from the gym. I've started back, I've recommitted to my health holistically since I've been here. And I've decided I'm not leaving Southeast Asia until I'm back to optimal health, meaning my blood work, my vitals. I don't want to be on any medication. Being in a hot, humid environment, I won't have any pain, so I don't have to take pain medication anymore. But I have recommitted to my health. The first step of that was the full health screening that I had done yesterday, um, which the results were really good, better than I thought they would be. But there are some things I need to work on, things that can be managed with better food intake. I've also started back working out. I've gone to the gym because I want to incorporate weightlifting at least 2 times a week. Y'all know I do my wealth walks every day, but I want to incorporate weightlifting at least 2 times a week. Um, and being here, it makes it so easy to be healthy and to recommit to my health goals. So, yep, the gym upstairs is so easily accessible. Beautiful view. They have music playing over the sound system. I said, I ain't never been in a gym that played classical music. Why is there classical music being played in the gym? I need music that's gonna hype me up. Give me some rap music, some hip hop music. They got classical music playing. I said, this building's so fancy. uh, let's see. I'm gonna do one more question and then I'm gonna wrap up. Oh, thank you, Shalonda. She said, I'm not bragging, it's inspiring. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Uh, oh, you're welcome. Thank you for sharing. I wish you well in this new chapter of yours. Looking forward to hearing more. Thanks for all you do in helping us become smarter financially. Yes, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So, last question, and then I'll wrap up. I've had you on for over 2 hours. This is the longest live stream ever. I didn't mean to have you on this long. Will you visit Fiji while I'm here? I have no plans, no current plans to visit Fiji, but anything is possible. I've heard wonderful things about Fiji. Fiji was initially put on my radar when Kenna, Kenna Williams first went there. She's the one that does the Dubai Black, the really, really big, popular Dubai Blackout trip every year. But she takes people all around the world. And she went to Fiji and she loves it so much. And she shared, uh, it's us. It's people that look like us that's in Fiji. And she has a Fiji grandma. And she said the woman reminded her so much of her grandma. And when she first posted the pictures, I was like, oh my God, they look alike. There were so many similarities. And she talks about the kindness so much. And she's visited several times. And each and every time she talks about how wonderful it is. So that's when Fiji was first put on my radar. And I've been thinking about going ever since I've seen Kenna visit. But I don't have any immediate plans, but I would like to one day, just for a little short vacation, like maybe 2 weeks to check it out. But anyway, I have enjoyed you all this evening. I said it was going to be the last, the last question. I'll do one more question. One more question. Uh, let's see, because I feel bad skipping all the questions that I see. So I'll take one more. One more. Hey Tammy, would you recommend any of your top threes for families? It depends on what you need as a family. Um, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, I most certainly would, only because the infrastructure is so modern. It's very easy to adapt to. It's very easy, especially if it's your first transition from the United States to another country. I see it as a very easy way to adapt. And there is a strong expat community. There's a neighborhood where a lot of expat families settle, um, that are near the two world renowned international schools. So, because of those things that are here, I think it will be an easy way for families to adapt. Um, Bali, Indonesia, I think the culture and the environment is beautiful for families, especially for children, because it's so welcoming and the people are so kind. But the only reason why I would hesitate to say Bali would be good for families, it's not to say expat families don't live there, is because of the lack of the infrastructure. the lack of the infrastructure, um, and some of like Bali's roads and the way of life, it seems like it's in the past. Like they're not very modernized yet. So depending on the comforts and the things that you're used to, it may be a little more challenging to adapt as a family. But in terms of the culture, the healthy environment, the friendly environment, friendly people, if that's a priority to you, oh, the lighting is changing in here. That's a priority to you. I think it would be okay. Thailand, yeah, especially the major cities in Thailand like Bangkok and Chiang Mai. Um, Again, modern infrastructure. The language barrier may be a challenge. A lot of people in Thailand speak English, especially in the major cities. But once you get outside of the major cities or outside of the major tourist areas, in Thailand, I do have to use my Google Translate a lot. So it may be a little more challenging for families to adjust. But in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, I have not used Google Translate at all. Signs are in English. The locals speak to each other in English. Their English, I mean, other than, the slight foreign accent, so you may have to ask them to repeat themselves a little bit. But other than that, it's very easy to adapt, very easy to communicate because of the language and the infrastructure that's here. So out of the three, if I had a family, or let's say my mini me came to live with me, something happened with his parents, one of his parents is in the military, right? So something happened and my mini me needed to come to live with me. Of the three countries that I love, I would settle in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, if I had him with me. So, yeah. But all right, ladies. If I miss your question, I'm so sorry. Charge it to my mind, not my heart. But we have been on for a long time, so I'm gonna let y'all go now. If this video was helpful to you, hit the like button. Hit the like button and share it with any woman that you know that's considering moving to another country, that is reconsidering just going somewhere temporarily because of all the mess that's about to fall out in our country. Send this video to her. I think it's a good list of things that anyone should consider when they're moving abroad. I think Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia is a great country for any Black American to move to. Very easy to adapt, very easy to integrate into the culture. Um, so yeah, share it with anyone that you know that's considering a move abroad and want to know what to think about when they're evaluating other countries on their scouting trips. Um, so yeah, that's all I have for now. Until next time, y'all continue learning and investing, even though we didn't talk about investing in this video, but investing is so important because it's how I'm able to afford to live abroad without working. It's how I'm able to afford to say I have options. I don't need to choose. Or it's how I'm able to say I don't need to choose a country because it's cheap. I'm willing to pay as much as I paid in the US with trade offs of luxury. That's what investing has done for me. So even when you're moving abroad for a better quality of life, having the finances to give you options is also important. And I do that through investing. So continue learning, continue investing. If you want to learn how to invest with me, the links will always be in the description box. Got my Road to 100K course for new investors and my Invest with Ease program with my Sister Circle Mastermind for my investors that already have a portfolio, but you want to grow that portfolio. The links for all of them are in the description box. But until next time, friends, I'm going to say bye for now. Thank you for hanging with me. It's been fun.